Well, good morning. Welcome to Flying with Mike. We sitting here in Houston, Texas, getting ready to prepare for an Allegiant flight up to Springfield-Branson Airport in Springfield, Missouri. Welcome aboard, JDJ Drums. Hope you enjoy the flight. Hope everything at Mid-America is going well. Today's flight will be approximately 513 miles. We'll be running at a cost index of 49 at flight level 370. So hope you enjoy the flight. We got about an hour and 50 minutes of flying time here, so we guess we ought to hop up into the cockpit and start getting things all prepared. Now the good thing here while we're working our way up to that cockpit is that we're already powered up, fueled up, and passengers are about ready to begin boarding. So that's the good thing here. The bad thing is we still got a lot to do. So first thing I'm just doing is getting some things lined up here to help me. It's a very simple flight plan. If you haven't checked the chat area, it is in there. It's just simply the ND7 departure TPAC to the Little Rock VOR. So pretty simple to program, pretty simple for everything in here. We're going to take a look at our load plan here. So passenger wise, we're putting 165 souls behind us. And there's the breakdown in the segments here. You can see the empty chairs. Cargo wise, we only got about 300 kilograms, and yes, there is no way to go to pounds, so sorry folks, those of you like me in the US, you have to try to do the conversions. Alright, so moving on, fuel for today's load has been uplifted 75, 78 on the kilos. So and you can see how it looks in the plane. We're going to go ahead and remove the fuel truck since we're done fueling. And, well, why don't we get rid of the cargo guys? All right, so for the most part, we're buttoned up. We still got a few things to do here. Here's the performance data that we have on the EFB. You can see one, that our CG looks good. Here's the breakdown again of cargo, passengers, our zero fuel weights. We're looking at a trim of 03. Let me find something to write that down. Got the perfect place for it. Hang on a second. And that's actually very simple to add here in the MCDU, which is Airbus's equivalent to saying, hey, the FMC. Although there are some checklists out there that crack me up. I think this might be one of them. So yeah, we'll get to those that crack me up, of course, here in a minute. We're departing Houston. Again, ND7's our departure. TPAC is the transition. Then we're direct to Little Rock. Then we're direct to Springfield. We're planning runway 32 into Springfield. Runway 4 is our planned departure runway here in Houston. Alternate, like I said, is St. Louis, approximately 227 miles away. If we divert, we'll go up to flight level 290 for our run up there. For those of you that want to join, we are on VATSIM. Let me confirm that here real quick. There we are. Matter of fact, you know what I'm going to do is test. That's one thing I did not get a chance to test. Hang on. And that, there we go. I'll just kind of move that in a way here. So here we are, as you look at this, it's called VATSIM statistics. I don't know. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. They still have this thing in beta. But anyway, we're going from here's us in Houston up to Springfield. So feel free to hop on, fly along. You got DFW you can catch us at, or come right out of Houston or Memphis. We love to have the company. So with that, let me move that browser out of the way. Where are you? There you are. And out it goes. All right, so that gives you the rundown of what we've got going on here. Again, zero fuel weight is 57,002 pounds, or kilos, almost got me. And I've uplifted 7,578 kilos of fuel. Passenger and cargo weight, bringing us, we'll have a gross weight of 64,580 kilos. All right. And for the most part, that takes care of that section. See if it's gonna, oh, bless your heart. And what we can do here, and I've already got most of this here. Let's get our departure on here. Where are you? Indy, there you are. Okay, so it's kind of hard to see here. I think I've got it all the way powered up. We'll bring up Sim Toolkit here in a minute, but basically, here's the routing we're going to take. It's pretty simple, kind of a curve over to Colette and then straight up to TPAC. Frequency-wise, we're looking at 132.25 if departure comes up, and 46 on the elevation. Directionally, we're going to initially climb to 16,000 feet. That's our top altitude. For runway 4, climb on 41, 560, then vectors to Rennick, Rennick to Colette, Colette to Sushi, to WL, to Indy, and then maintain 16,000. And Indy is technically the end, which is here, but we're going to continue to TPAC, TPAKK. So pretty simple, straightforward departure. Relatively speaking. And on the airport, just to give you an idea where we're hiding, we're on the end of this concourse right here. Runway 4 is this runway right here at 7,600 feet. So plenty of runway for our departure. All right, and then here's the route up to Little Rock and then over. And then in Springfield, we will probably execute a RNAV to some degree. Now we'll just go to final for now. But we'll worry about that in flight. And real quick, here is the flight plan from Sim Toolkit. Sorry if I coughed in your ears, didn't mean to. Giving you a quick rundown of everything. Average wind, by the way, is 284 at 77. Okay, so let's put the electronic fuel away and let's get the powering up. All right, so we've already done the initial preliminary checks, and all that involves is starting down here and going up to the overhead. So the first thing we do is get the ground power established to the plane, but we don't push the button yet up top. We want to first make sure our thrust levers are at idle. I kind of make sure they move would be a good thing to be able to taxi and get going if they don't. Then you want to check your engine masters. That's these two here. Make sure they're in the off position, and the selector or switch is below them is in the normal position, which by the way is 12 o'clock. So if it's facing towards 12 o'clock, we're good. Okay, next thing that I always find on this plane is the speed brake. That's this lever here is always at about 50%. I always run it to 100% and then back up. I don't know why it does it. I don't know how to prevent that, but it's what I'm going to say is it is what it is. Right over from it and down is the parking brake. Make sure that is set, as well as the flaps are to 0. They'll show 0 here, but of course you won't have anything because you're not powered up yet. Okay, from here we just start working our way up. The gear lever is down. Now you won't see all of this in a cold and dark, including these 3 indicators for your gear, 3 green and down. Then we move up, check our wipers. And that, folks, is what the preliminary involves. Now, as we continue up and we get ready to do the power up, what you're going to do is click battery 1. Now, they're going to both be looking just like you see this. When you click battery 1, battery 2 is going to light up and say off. Battery 1 doesn't, is because it's on. Little confusing with Airbus. I guess, as I have, once you do it once or twice, yeah, figure that one out real quick. Press battery 2, and then you get the same light arrangement. Nothing lit, but your batteries will be on. If you come back down, all of a sudden you're going to see your 3 green for your landing gear, and the backup artificial horizon is powering up. Could be showing. It has been every time I've done it so far. So those are your signs now that your aircraft is under some kind of power. Next, basically come up, click your external power. It'll say avail, and that's going to light up everything you see here, and even make these 3 show 3 quick hits with the lights. Now, I didn't do it yet, but I'm going to go ahead, put these either in nav 1, nav 2. They're, folks, the same light. It's not a different light in there. It's just one's in front of the other. So if one's out, you can use the other one, or vice versa. And what most crews do is the pilot flying, if it's the captain, nav 1. If it's the pilot, first officer, nav 2, or reversed, however the crews do it, and they alternate just so that they both work the same. And it prevents an MEL, or basically in this place, you ain't flying without them. Okay, so we're in nav 1. Okay, so that, folks, brings us to where we begin to prepare the cockpit. That is basically your lights. Here's your overheads. Make sure your emergency lights are on. In the arm position, I've got the seatbelt signs on right now, mainly because we were fueling. So nobody smokes while we're fueling. Kind of self-explanatory, I hope. Okay, so then we move on to starting the APU. To do that, we come up to the overhead panel. We're going to just pop over to it, click the test button, and the fire warning goes off. That's a good thing. Next up, we're going to do the master, and I am going to switch back because this is kind of neat. Well, not neat. It's something a lot of pilots jump through quickly in the flight sim world. Turn it on, come down, give it the few seconds to tell you the flap is open. There are tests being run to make sure you have the right amount of fluid, the right amount of everything needed for the APU to perform properly, plus it's opening the flap for the air to come into the turbine. Flaps open. Now we can click start, which is the button right below. Come back down. It's going to spool up, and I think it spools pretty decently. I've never seen one actually, perform it here at Mid-America Airport. Usually they're left running. But it appears with like the 737s that I have heard spool up to be pretty close. Not like the old flight sim days where poof, they're on. No, they don't work that way, folks. Okay, so now we're going to see avail, avail, and available. So you are now on the APU, and now we can turn on the APU bleed. And if you want, you can disconnect from ground power. We're going to keep it on till we get to pushback. All right, now some other things I have done. I've set our temperatures to a couple of degrees cooler than 12 o'clock for the cockpit. Likewise, a couple of notches past 12 o'clock for the cabin. So they're a little cozier back there, if you will. Okay, so now we're going to move to the overhead panel itself. And of course, I'll switch to that view. Flows in Boeing go from top to bottom. Airbus, they go bottom to top. So from the front to back as you sit in there, back to front for Boeing, front to back for Airbus. And if you want to see how that would look, so you would run this way for Airbus. Okay. All right, so however, the checklist doesn't run that way. So we are going to. They actually come down. We're going to start here. We're going to go ahead and get this one into nav. ADIRS number 1. Okay, it's in a line, and then we're waiting for it to show on bat. Now what that means is if you lose all power, you always have the battery powering those. We'll go to number 2. And I like to move the mouse away so it doesn't accidentally trick it. And we're going to wait for on bat. There it is. And number 3. And on bat. Okay, so now let's come down. Come down anything other than a fault. This one we can't clear until they are aligned, which you have to actually do in the MCDU. So we would come up, wipers are off. These are the different calls. There is a voice recorder check and test right here that is not modeled. You check everything is, basically looking just like your battery switches. No warnings in them, no offs or anything like that. Now, the next level, we're going to move the strobes to auto, and that's as far on that one as we'll go. Seatbelt sign is in auto. No smoking is on. Actually, go ahead and turn it on. Got things really quiet for some reason here. Anyway, and you want to set your lighting again. Emergency lights are armed. Landing elevation. Make sure that's at 12 o'clock so it's in the auto position. Then we're going to come through here. Packs again are on. The faults are only because the engines aren't running. So we'll turn these guys all on. And then we'll do our fire checks for engine 1, engine 2. Okay. Now, I haven't figured it out, and people have told me it's pretty simple. If you say pretty simple to me, it means it's impossible. No, that you can push these buttons and be able to come down so that you would be able to check that you're getting your proper warning signals here, actually here, and here. They're going to actually show fire warnings down here. So hang on 1 second. Okay. Once we have the fuel pumps in the test run, we come up the third side here. We'll turn our cargo heats on and again bring it up to 12 o'clock. Here's our nav 3, and our nav 3, com 3, radio com. Okay, now above this there are some other things. I have no idea how this refuel panel or any of this works, if it works. So anyway, so there we go. We've got the main part of the overhead panel checked. Let's move on now to the main panel and the pedestal. There are some very important things on the pedestal that have to be set or you're not going to transmit. Okay, so we are on VATSIM, so even that channel won't transmit if you don't have a switch turned. So we'll get to that here. So we're going into the middle here. Make sure the anti-skid and nose wheel steering is on. That is this switch right here, folks, next to your auto brake and down and to the right of your landing gear. This is where I get the chuckle. Remember, these devices in Airbus are called MCDUs, but in my checklist they say FMC on. I get a chuckle. So, but anyway, they are on. And we're going to go ahead and come on down into the pedestal. Let's make sure the radar's off so nobody's becoming not able to make babies. And that very important check right here, turn that microphone on, folks. In the 767, you're going to actually pull this up and turn it so that you can finally get on the networks there. Now, since we're on VATSIM, well, I could have gone the other way. Sorry, folks, went the wrong way. There. Then over here, what I'm going to set, even though we're not on it, I like the channel just because it's easy. There we go. And we'll get the emergency one on here just in case. Okay, so we got our frequencies set. Folks, we don't get a, like with POSCON, we don't get a squawk, so we'll set 2000 for our squawk. Okay, and TCAS is on standby. All right, and we're ready for the MCDU now, folks. Again, the parking brake is on. And this, folks, is a printer which when we get done, when a pilot would normally in an Airbus get done, they'll send it to a company. I forget what that's called, ATSU. They'll send it back and it'll print the takeoff information from METARs to how much runway is going to be used to the actual speeds, flap, the whole 9 yards. So anyway, doesn't work here obviously. All right, so let's pop up here, and like I said, we are now into where we're able to program the MCDU. It's actually not as daunting of a task as we are led to believe. This is the data page. I didn't expect it to go over there, but that'll work. Okay, we'll hit data, and there's how you get to that aircraft status. CFM 584 is right. There's our nav data. Make sure that's right. Next one's 20 May coming up. We've got about 2 weeks to go, and everything looks good. Okay, we'll go ahead and say goodbye to that side. But what we need to do is go to the start with this at the INIT page. We're going to put in our departure / arrival point, ICAOs. Boom. We don't have a route. flight number. It isn't flying as of yet, but it is scheduled to start up here soon, just like some of the flights at Mid-America where I work. Okay, now the next thing is we need to put in the cost index, which was 49. And average wind 284 at 70. Oh, wait, correction. 70. And we'll go with the default temp it gives us. Now, what we're going to do here initializes the flight, which is amazing. It's not in the checklist. They got everything else. Okay, and initial on reference, confirm. All right, so come back to this page. Now, they say to put the weights in. I'm going to wait all of that. We're going to go straight to the flight plan. Okay, so out of Houston, we're on a departure weight of runway 4. In D7. TPAC. Okay. And that right there, folks, says that our IRS is aligned. And you'll see GPS primary here. So we can clear and clear. Okay. Okay, so let's... Okay, we only have one fix, folks. L-I-T. Insert. And the reason I insert is that way all of that's locked in. We'll come back and review here in a minute. So hang on. Let's see now for Springfield. Let me check something here. Okay, D7, oh wait, Springfield, sorry. We have any stars? We have no stars. Okay. Okay, so we got that, and let's pull up the RNAV real quick. Oh, it's just pretty much a straight in on it. Okay. Okay. We'll take it, I guess. All right. Okay, yeah, we'll just go direct there. Okay, so I'll be bringing this up here momentarily to go over it. Actually, we'll be able to do it right on the plane here in a minute. So for Springfield, I clicked arrival. We're coming in runway 32. We're going to go ahead and set up for the RNAV. Oh, it already set it in there. Okay, I was like, where are you? Oh, that's right. My bad. All right, so we got to clear that one. And then we'll come up and see if we can clear the other one. We may not be able because that's manual and I'm still a little fuzzy on those. Nope, not allowed. I didn't think so. All right. All right, so we'll do this. And that gets the flight plan loaded in. One thing we will do is switch to plan mode before we go into setting up performance information. All right, so to do this, I'm going to come in. Actually, why don't we just go with the pop out? It makes it so much easier. Okay, so let's hang on. Okay, there's Houston. Okay, there's our first fix, Rennick. Actually, I'm going to do one even better. Bear with me a second, folks. There we go. Okay, hopefully this pulls up well on the screen here. For now, let's get rid of that. Okay, so what you should be seeing is the nav display next to the MCDU, and then over here is our chart. Let me just check another source. The other one's running real slow. Sorry, folks. Okay, good. It is all showing, and it does appear to be pretty decent on the screen. Okay, so with that in mind, as we go from Rennick to Kolit, Rennick, Kolik, Sushi, okay, then it's WL, Indy, TPAC. Then as you're following up, you should see Little Rock next. Oh wait, you won't see Little Rock on that page. Hang on. So you can see it here also spelled out. Little Rock direct in to APEL. And then Retha, by the way, is our initial for the approach. APEL, and then we're into Springfield. So we don't have any discontinuities but the one. So let's put everything away here. And we'll make sure this goes to ARC. And we'll pull. All right. So there we go. That was a good run, letting you see. There we go. Sorry, folks. Almost forgot it. All right. Hang on. Let's come back. All right. So that takes us through, folks, the initial part of getting the flight loaded in there and the initial data. So let's go back to initialization, go to the next page, which is where we enter our zero fuel weight and zero fuel weight CG. Now, this is where I'm going to go side by side with this. To some degree. Okay, so let's go to the perf data. Okay, so the zero fuel weight would be 57.0. Now I've already clicked set, so when I click weight request, it's going to bring it up. And we're at 29.9 on our CG, so we're good to go there. I don't think there's any other data here. Weights boarding. Okay. Now, we're going to go to the perf page. Now, the perf page, we've got to do a couple of things here first. And I'm going to bring in another tool here. So hang on a second here. And I wish I could do this as seamlessly as some others do it, but you know. Alright, so what I've brought in is a website that Spyflight talks about a lot. Hang on a second. Alright, so there we go. Makes it easy now. Okay, so we have... Oh, well, I thought it would show it better, but it doesn't. Okay, for takeoff. This website, by the way, I'm putting in the chat room for you. Basically gives you the takeoff performance for, not sim toolkit, there we go. Anyway, so we're going to just basically select our aircraft CFM engine. Units are metric. We're at Houston. When we click METAR, we'll get an updated METAR as of 1453, coming up here real soon on a new one. So it's 24. There you go. You see your runway 04012 and so forth. Now, we're told flaps 3, it's not available. So we're going to have to go flaps 2, packs on, anti-ice obviously off with a temperature like that, and we're on a dry runway. 57 there, and for the MAC, we're putting in 299. I'm sorry, 283. My bad. So 28.3. We're going to select our runway if it'll let us. Runway 4, full length. And I think we were told 61 for our flex. We're not going to be given a flex. It's not available. All right, so V1 VR will be, so we're going to do a calculate. It's going to do it anyway for us at 61. 20K, 131, 131. Let me see how that stacks up against what we originally got. Pretty close. And let's check Top Cat real quick. Update. Same weather. I think. Yes, same weather. Going to ACARS. Takeoff data. A little bit more. So we'll run with what we get from them, just because it's a... I've been told this is sometimes, oops, a little lower than what would normally come to the plane. So, and then technically, if you wanted to have fun, you could do this, which for some reason doesn't fill in any of this stuff like it should, but I don't know why. All right, so there you go, folks. So our numbers are going to go in. Okay, so from the ACARS program I have, I'm going to go 141, 141, and 142 for V2. Okay, now flaps 3 / UP 0.3. Now, if you're curious where that data is, hang on a second, because I need to do it anyway. It's right here. Let me show you this. So your trim, oh, it changed. Okay, let's try that again. Let's make sure nothing's changed, nothing there, nothing there. Okay, I'm going to do it my way. Oh, hang on, UP. $61. Okay, well, we're going to go with it because... And get rid of that. And that, folks, gets the MCDU programmed. I'm not sure why we're getting those checks. Hopefully shouldn't have us any problems here. But that's the MCDU checks. So now after that, we go up to the flight control unit, and that flight control unit is right here in the middle. Very simple stuff here. Actually, we'll go to takeoff. Clicking update to see if anything new has yet to come down. Not yet. So we're at 3018. So we just put in our Q and H, and as you notice, it updates on both sides. Thank you. Then we make sure our FDs are lit. Nav selects are at arc and arc. Range at 20, 20 and 20. And then we're going to set for constraints. We'll do it on both. Auto throttle is on, and the altitude set for 37,000. And the blue dots there. So folks, that takes us up to pushback. And how are we doing? 51 minutes, so we're about 9 minutes quicker than normal. One thing I do have to do here, hang on a second while I bring this over. While I accomplish this task real quick. From our data source here, our EFB charts. So be there momentarily. We got to go to current bids. Oh, they're not loaded yet. Okay, fly the bid. Hi, Rips. Bear with me, I'm just trying to find the plane real quick. Be so nice if we could just do a quick search. Okay, load. $165 peeps, we got that. We need to drop the altitude. We'll get our sound set up right so it doesn't freak us out here. V1 again was... Oh, I missed that. Okay. We may go back to the performance page here real quick. I missed something in the strip that I got. Okay, so 141. Save, start. Okay, let's go back to that real quick. I see where I messed up. That's why we were getting that. 1/UP. I won't be surprised if it tells us. It's still saying, okay. Well, we're going to go with it because that's what our performance is. And we are estimating 98 feet of runway at the end of the runway. So this ought to be fun. All right, so we got that going. Let's get into the departure brief now. Departure-wise, we're coming out of Houston. We kind of went through this already on the Indy 7 departure. Let me just make sure nothing's in the way on the screen and it looks good. Okay, and again, we went through it. We're going to climb to Rennick, which is down here. And then from there, follow the course. Collet, Sushi, WL, Indy to TPAC. Top altitude is 16,000 feet. We're not going to worry about it unless ATC comes up and tells us we have to. Okay, taxi-wise, we're located here. We're basically going to come out on hotel, follow it all the way down to the end of the runway for takeoff. And we're going to try and set up pretty as close as we can to the end because we only get 100 feet of runway left when if performances match up between the two. So there's your departure brief, folks. Let's go ahead and get the truck on its way for better pushback.
Hey, Captain, let me know where you want this thing.
And we got the sassy guy today. So he ought to be entertaining for you. Whoop. So we just position the airplane where we want. We know we're going to be going out Yankee to hotel. And then we hit enter. Whoop, enter.
Great news, Captain. Your tow's coming.
Weather-wise, you can see we got nothing. Well, we Nope, we got clear skies up there. Just check the METAR again. Alright, so what we're going to do now is close the door. And now we're going to go up. Oop, can't do it from there. We got to go here. We're going to come off external power. All doors are closed. We're going to look here in a moment.
All right, looks like the doors and hatches are closed and we're ready to connect.
All right, so we've got the chocks and everything off. Chocks I can see are out. Doors are closed. Yep, all doors are closed.
Welcome aboard, Captain. Toes connected, bypass pins inserted. Go and kill the parking brake when you're ready to go.
Okay, so let's do it. All doors are closed. Beacon is not on yet. Okay, beacons are on. Wing lights are going to go on as well. Tow vehicles here. And we've got 8 cars running. And we got one more check to do, and we're going to be pushing back. And we are on the ACARS map. Now, we weren't able to put in the thrust reductions and accelerations because the site that I go to is by another streamer, Black Box 711, and he just hasn't done Houston. He's a European one, and I'm sure of the 200 or 300 he has, and they're mostly Europe. Although Boise, Idaho, of all strange places, probably because him and Spy Flight talk a lot. But anyway. We are ready to go here, folks, so let's get over here. Okay, so all we have to do to start the pushback is come off the pushback.
Here comes the pushback. Light them up.
Now, to start the aircraft up, let's come to the console here. Here is that start selector. We're going to move it to the left to about the 2 o'clock position. And then we're going to start number 2 first. And we're going to watch it spool up. Actually, look a little better here. And you can see by the gray that it's coming up. When it says avail, then we're clear to start the other engine. And we're 5 minutes late on scheduled departure time. See how it says avail? So now I could go back down and start going to the other engine. And again, when you see the gray here, that means it's in the process of spooling up. Until you see avail, you have to just wait for it. And also make sure your bleed opens.
Just about done here. Go ahead and set your parking brake.
There's avail. And parking set.
And we're disconnecting the tow. Give me just a moment.
Okay, so that there, folks, is how you get the aircraft fired up. And we are stable at this time, so we're going to come back down here, move this to normal, go up to the overhead panel, turn the APU bleed off, send him on his way. Where were we at? Packs 1 and 2 are, on. No lights, tells you they're on. And we're going to turn the APU off. Okay, that's very simply, folks, how you start the aircraft. Okay, and now...
And we're disconnected. Signal and pin on the right. Take it easy and have a safe flight.
That's what we got to look for, is the pin. But while we're waiting on it, let's get the parking or the brake fan on, which is next to the lights. The auto brake to max. Hang on, he's almost where we need him. Oh, he's going to get hit by something out there in a minute. And there's the pin. Okay, so the weather radar is right. Well, we're going to have to go to the center to see it. We're going to turn it to 2 this time. Brakes 1. Transponder TA. Spoilers armed. And basically what you're looking for is that white bar right underneath it. Parking brake will come off here in a second. Matter of fact, we'll go ahead and disarm. Come up here. Turn on our nose light to taxi. And our runway turn-off lights. Here we go. And we can kind of see how we're doing here, folks. You can see us on the map, and it'll follow us. And with that, folks, we will see you at the end of the runway. Alright, folks, we're getting close to the end of the runway. Got one more to cross here, and that'll be looks like 1735, and then we're pretty much to the end of the runway. All we got left to do check-wise is lights and get our transponder on TARA, which we'll do right now.
Approaching 3-5.
Okay, we have to do a TO config check, and all that is just testing that everything's good to go for takeoff. Right there's the button, and we're normal. Alright, so we are ready for departure. We're going to go all the way to the end, folks. Come in on it. Sorry for the yawn in your ears. Alright. So let's go ahead. We'll wait till we get to the runway and make our announcement so the VATSIM world can be happy. Almost to the hold short. Okay, what I'm going to do, just to make sure, Houston traffic, MACAIR 572 departing runway 4, Indy 7 departure. And what I do is I'll bring up the client, make sure that it's lighting up properly. Okay, so we're cleared for takeoff. Nose lights, well, we'll get those. We're going to go ahead and turn the strobes on. And we're going to make our way onto the runway. Now, as you can see, this should pretty well put our nose gear on the center line, or thereabouts. Okay, so we're on the runway. Let's throttle up here in a second. Let's get our lights on. Transponder.
On runway 04. On runway 04.
Okay, so for takeoff, folks, we're going to go to 50%. Then we're going to hit toga. And basically that's just moving the throttle forward. And then we'll slowly raise up at the right time. Here we go. Throttle's at 50. Flaps are at 1.
Rotate.
Gear up.
Gear up.
Okay. AP1 on. Bear with me here a second as I bringing the flaps up. And you don't have to go to level climb right when it tells you to, folks. Okay, and what I was talking about here on the throttle, you have these different notches. You're pretty much free from here up, but when you get to climb, there are notches you put it into, and it makes the fine adjustments. You can go straight to max flex, toga, main, whatever, but from there on, okay, now we need to get the spoilers off. Okay, and keep all the lights on until 10,000. And the brake fans can go off. Okay, once we pass 10,000, we'll turn the lights off. Anti-ice we won't need. Baro to standard at 18,000. So there you go, folks. We are on our way. Over here, we're going to click there and there. And we're going to go to weather. And it's just kind of slowly centers itself on us. And we're 99.
10,000 feet.
Crossing 10. So all we got to do is lights off. And I'm going to go ahead and get the wing light. And from here on, folks, the aircraft flies itself. Most of your data that you're wanting to see is right here. And as we get to cruise, we'll get into a quick check of it. We'll only get one in before it's time to get briefed up for the arrival. But for now, folks, enjoy the ride up to 32,000. The only thing we got left to do is set the altimeters to standard here as soon as we cross 18,000. So we'll see you over at top of climb. And that's what I love doing, hitting the wrong button. Sound changes, that was me working in the background to see if maybe Windows Mixer picked up on it. Okay, and we're coming up to 18,000.
$18,000 feet.
Standard 30 or 129.2, Both sides read the same. Here we go, folks. We're on our way. Real quick, though, we're going to do a quick check here. Then I'll let y'all enjoy your lunches. What we're going to do is a quick lower cam check. And we're just going to be using the all button. We're just going to make sure everything is green. Here's the engine electrics, how they're working from the gens into the aircraft. Hydraulics here, we're just making sure everything's green, no yellows in the fuel. We will probably, here, I'll do it this way. We're going to have to run the left side a little bit to get balanced, so we'll do that. Keep an eye on that. I'm just going to move on. The EPU, obviously we don't need, it's closed. Air conditioning looks good, 23, 25, that's in the upper 70s, low 70s. Oxygen is good, all slides and everything is on. Wheels are up, no doors down. And here's our surfaces. Now, if you're curious what the GBY, BG, and so forth through here mean, that's the hydraulic system that runs on board. So when you go back to hydraulics, which is right up here, green, blue, yellow, G, B, Y. Tidbit of information I learned from one of the other pilots out here. Back to the engine, let's take a look at the fuel. Oh, dang it, I forgot something. Let me get back down here and make sure. Okay, good. Forgot to turn the cross feed on first. She'll burn down. And then while we continue to climb, we'll watch that fuel gauge, and then basically what we'll do is turn the pumps on first, then turn off. I did this last time. Been a while since I've flown the plane, so I expect mistakes. As you can see, we're getting closer on our numbers. Alright, so now that we're getting closer, I'm going to go ahead and get us... Now wait till we get to the 2400, then we'll get us up to the upper panel. And basically what we're doing is just equalizing our takes. 747 guys, you know how this works. We are not transferring fuel. What we're doing is we're using, as you can see, let's look at the piping here. We're using the left-right wing. It's going through the cross feed over to the other one. The APU runs here. Okay, let's get up top here. Pumps on. This guy goes off. So you see how that worked. Now we got this part of the center if it had fuel, and this pump pumping into here. Same thing over here. When the cross feed's on, they're doing it across the ditch. It's kind of a misnomer. We're not transferring fuel, folks. We're just using fuel from one side of the aircraft to power all the engines. Once we're back into normal, they're like what we call tank to engine in the 747. Those tanks power those engines down to each engine. Okay, so let's get down here, and folks, let me clear this up. We're also going to do a status check. Everything's normal. Recall, clear. There we go. So we are now on our way. And sorry folks, I don't have these mapped properly yet. Okay, folks, there's 30,000. 7 to go. All right, folks, let's do a quick arrival brief here. If you haven't seen, let me kind of bring you up to speed here. I hate when my mouse ends up in the wrong spots. Okay, as we look at our, we're 250 miles out of Springfield, and I've got on the other MCDU the Earth page, which shows us in cruise. With a top of descent 130 miles out. So let's quickly run through what we're going to be doing here on the approach, get our V speeds and all of that up to date. And first thing I want to do is bring us up to date on the METAR. And hang on a second. Okay, and that'll be in the chat box for you, so you've got an idea of what we're staring down. We got a broken layer at 10,000, so that's the worst we have. Winds are still 310 at this is almost a little over an hour old, so winds are 310 at 8, and I think the forecast is for a little bit brisk, 12 to 20 knots, somewhere in that ballpark as we come in. All right, so let me reposition that camera. There we go. So let's bring SimToolKit in and take a look at this real quick. Then we'll bring up our V speeds. Okay, so there's SimToolKit. Pretty much showing the route. We're almost to Springfield at this time. Now, what we don't have a star in there, as you can tell up across the top. Here's the route. We're just going to shoot the RNAV. Rethal is our initial fix, Retha. So let's take a look. So basically, it's going to be come off Springfield, direct Retha, then direct to the runway. We should be able to see it because Retha, we need to be at or around 3,200 feet. Hang on, let's pull this chart so it's fully exposed. It's effective as of 16 December of 2016. So I'm sure this has been done a couple of other times. However, we do have a frequency here. As you can see, channel 72933. And that's all set automatically in the MCDU. Final approach course 319 degrees. Now, our minimum altitude is 2,900 feet at Appel. When we're at Appel, we'll be getting on the 3-degree glide slope into the runway. And we have speeds down here to tell us what that is. Our decision altitude is 1,518 feet, which should be right around, I believe that's what number 5, LNAV only, 1.4 miles out. And airport's at 1,200 feet. And by the way, that's 250 feet above ground level. So it's 268 feet for the airport and for the touchdown zone. Missed approach, we go straight ahead to 3,000 to Jogpu, Jogpu, and we go into a hold. Looks like we're going to have to do a teardrop entry to get into the hold correctly. Transition levels 18,000. That's no big surprise in the U.S. Got to have VNAV, VDP. I'm sorry, that's not authorized. LNAV is what we'll be using to get in here. So it's interesting. It says not authorized, but yet there it is down here with the speeds. You gotta love it sometimes. So here we go. Retha, straight into Appel, straight into the runway. Same thing here. We'll try to be at about 3,200 feet. 2,900 feet for sure at Appel, and then we'll descend accordingly. All right, so for the LPV Approach 1 mile is what we need. 1608 on the decision altitude, which is what we'll use. 1.25 miles. Now, for speed-wise, we're going to be coming in at approximately 140. So we're going to need to be in the 700 to 750 glide path from Appel in. And that'll put us on a 3-degree down to our decision altitude, which is again 1,515 or 18 feet. So there's the arrival. Once we're on the ground on 3-2, here, let me zoom out. We're going to come off at either hotel or the end of the runway. If we're lucky, we'll come off at hotel, taxi back to Fox, into the terminal, and we'll be parking. Going to shoot for gate 5. We'll see if we're able to. Oh, one thing we didn't go over, we got Pappy's on the left, runway edge lighting, and then there's our missed approach. Okay, speaking of which, approach speed, approximately 140. It's 136, so I round up. Landing speed, 131, full flaps. So we'll be on a medium auto braking. What should happen is we'll have 4,000 feet remaining. Total length of this runway is 8,000 feet. So we'll see if we get into that ballpark. So there you go, folks. That is the arrival brief. And let's see where we are now with regards to top of descent. 78 miles out. So let's, I know we've got a checklist. Okay, so seatbelt sign. Well, we can actually turn that off for now. I haven't had it off. Cabin temperatures we've checked. So at 20 miles, we'll set the Q&H. And we'll put the performance data in. Performance data being Q&H. Let's find out, shall we? So next phase is descent. So we'd be Q&H, temperature, wind, and our descent altitude will be full. And right now it's even calling 137 for V approach, 132 for our landing speed, about 1 off of what I have currently. Alrighty, folks, so there you go with the arrival brief. We're getting ready to round the curve here at Little Rock, as you can see on the nav display. And over on the first officer side, I spun it up. We can see the hockey stick for where top of descent is. We got, like I said, hang on a second, about 60 miles. So we'll roll some music and we'll break in as we need to. Alright folks, we're back with you. We're at that 20-mile mark it looks like here. Let's verify real quick. Yep, let's get the data entered here as the system is asking for. So hang on a second, I just want to get rid of one of these. Okay, so we'll clear from here, next phase, next phase. Okay, we're looking at 30.20. Temperature 18. And a wind 310. Diagonal 16. And our MDA 1518. Transitions at 18,000. Our approach speed will be from 140 to 138 with a landing speed set at 132. Okay, so we've got that part set up. Let's start the checklist then. ILS frequencies, NAVRAD. We don't have an ILS, I just realized that. Seatbelt sign will go on. Altitude setting for star, which will be $3,000. And we are now 20 miles from top of descent. Let's make sure. Okay. We are set. And when we're ready, we will do the descent here. We'll get it down to about 10 miles and then we'll do it. So to start the descent, what we're going to do is where you see the finger pointing there and the down arrow, that's how we'll click that. And that'll start us into our managed descent. All right, folks. Oh, and by the way, the METAR did update. That's why we've got a little different than what you see there. Hang on a second. There's the latest and greatest. And while I'm at it, okay, and that's the format, folks. For those of you following along that want to put a prediction in, that's all you got to do. Is the asterisk plus the word predict minus 200. All right, so where are we? Okay, it looks like we're within the 10. We are. So let's start the descent. Now this green dot represents if we would have crossed the hockey stick. So it's going to descend, but then it'll eventually catch up. As you can see, it's getting outside the parameter right now. But if you looked over here, we are managed. So it'll eventually catch up to it, and that green dot will be right here. We were only 8 miles off, folks. And it's kind of like the little FPV you see right here on the Boeing nav displays, you know, where it tells you where you are glide-wise. within the setup, the descent parameters. Same concept. Gosh forbid airplane manufacturers would kind of be the same. I know. Then who would want an Airbus and who would want a Boeing? Alright, so we are into the descent, and we'll go ahead and play a little bit more music here for y'all, and we'll be back as we get a little closer into the arrival. Alright, I'm going to hold the music there. We're going to work our way in. We're through 15,000 right now, through 14,500. We're starting to hit the haze layer. We're starting to see the broken clouds. Now the good thing is all the weather has pushed east of Springfield. It's right now over us, the thunderstorms and all. Not much rain with it all, but still, all of that icky stuff's away. Let's do a quick final METAR update, and we're still at the same one. Okay. And we're going to do a quick Okay, so as with the updated information, reference still 132, 137. We're looking at landing distance required 4,500 feet, and we have a margin of about 5,000 feet if the actual landing of just under 3,000 feet occurs. Alright, so we're going to press in now. We're coming up on the 10,000 foot checks, and as you've seen, I have not touched the throttles. This is all being controlled electronically. So, alright, so let's, excuse me there folks. Okay, so we're past 20 miles and we're coming up on the decel point. Alright, so passing 10,000, let's get up here. We'll get off the electronics. We'll go ahead and arm the lights. Okay. Alright, we're at 10,500. Anti-ice, we're not going to need it. It's automatic anyway. Runway lights, AP, we don't, well, yeah, we'll go ahead. See what comes up. Let's do one check though. Okay, it's not showing up. Yep, there's our initial for the arrival.
Ten 10,000 feet.
Okay, so now we're beginning our descent. Auto brakes are at medium. We'll start setting flaps here as we get a lot closer. But for now, we're descending into Springfield. Real nasty looking where we're flying over. Okay, so now, well, now look at that. It's starting to clear off as we get through that haze. Don't see the airport as of yet. We're 13 miles, though, from the initial. Okay, why I did what I did, clicking us off the auto speeds, is so I can actually put us into the arrival. Otherwise, it's going to slow us to 147 this far out. Okay. And now we are 10 miles from our initial, and that needs us to be at 3,200. With 29. Okay. Okay, so we're clean to 212, then we get the slats out at 190. So okay, so all of our checks are complete. Brake fans can come on now. We're about on final. Spoilers will go ahead and arm. And again, to arm them, make sure you have the white band below the, pulled up so you can see it. Flaps are still there.
$2,500.
Okay, we're coming up on our altitude. We're going to go set for 29. Okay, we are now lined up for the runway somewhere out there. We're going to go to flaps 1. Okay, we're going to go ahead and slow the approach speed. Okay, got the airfield. Gear down.
Gear down.
One thousand.
Flaps. Flaps.
Okay, my airplane.
Approaching. 3, 2. Flaps. Flaps.
500.
Unstable. Unstable.
400. 300. 200.
Sink rate. Sink rate.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Alright, how bad did we do? About 273, not bad. Horrible approach. Alright folks, we are off the runway, and we didn't announce to VATSIM World. Oh well, I'm not going to get stressed over that. Okay, so landing lights never came on. That's another one. Kind of wild that we don't have taxi lines out here. Just do the best we can here. Alright, radar off. Spoilers down. What do we got here for a warning? Okay. Transponder weather. Start the APU. Waiting for flap open as we taxi. Flaps open. The APU's coming alive. let's see what we can do to getting into the stand we wanted. Get a broad view of what's available to us in here. Okay, we're going to go next to KLM. As a camera the real airline doesn't have, probably most A320s don't. I went ahead and made a tail camera so we can okay. What I'm going to do is kill the taxi lights. There's our jetway we're aiming for, folks. I think it's actually going to be gate 7. Well, we were close. I wanted gate 5. KLM had to have it first. Alright, we're in the spot, folks, so we'll set the parking brake, and it is not set. Why did it not set? Probably because my finger was still on the trigger. Oh well. Alright, so all we got left to do, let's kick the APU bleed on. Wing lights off, APU bleeds on. Okay, so we can kill the engines. We just come down here, click. And We know the gen's running because they didn't die on us. Okay. As soon as they're ready, they'll get the door hooked up. Engine 1, engine 2 off. Brake fans off. Let's get up top here. We're going to go ahead and turn off our ADIRs. And the beacon. And let's head down here. Put the chocks in. And go ahead and call them up. All right, folks, we are in the gate and shut down. We had a landing rate of 273 feet a minute. I was the only one to make a prediction, it looks like. Yeah, I was the only one. So, oh well, win by default, I guess. Anyway, we are on the ground. Let's hop out, take a look at what the crews are doing. As best we can. Okay, hang on a second here. There we go. That'll work. So there you go, folks. You can see the aircraft now. We are in the gate. They'll position us up. We'll get the door. The doors are already open. And that's going to be a wrap, folks, for this flight. We do appreciate you all joining us here at Flying with Mike. Without y'all, there's no reason for a broadcast, so we do appreciate each and every one of you. We're at 49 followers right now. We're hoping to get 50. And a couple of other parameters have to be met to become an affiliate, and then we'll work on getting to whatever it takes to be a partner. But we're really excited. We're one person away on that. So, and thanks for the yay shout out there from J Drums. We appreciate it. So for now, folks, y'all enjoy your day. Enjoy your Thursday. Weekends weekends one more day away. Unfortunately for me, it's 2 days out at the airport, but that's okay. We'll then have supposedly 4 days off, even though one of them's taken up by training. You gotta love an airport. So, but anyway, folks, y'all have a great day, and we'll be talking at you later.